Koine, and welcome to Parsing John. Today we are in chapter 1, verse 42, the very end of this part of the passage. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the rubric, everything that we're looking for in the Greek as we go through, making sure that we properly identify each of our words. Let's go ahead and read it aloud. Egagen auton proston Iesun, emblepsos autoi ho Jesus epen, Simon ho huios Ioannou su kletheisei Kephas, ho hermeneuetai Petros. That's as far as we're going to go today. Our very first word, as I think it's happened for the last few verses, or at least this one right here, is our verb, which is nice. It's always great when the word that you want to find first is the very first word given to you. So this epsilon nu here is our personal ending. That's going to be a third person, singular. And this is ago, and then I cannot remember the future, but then it's agagon, which is the stem that we have right here, agog. This means that this is aorist tense, and it is active and indicative. This is he led. Taking a look back here, the subject is probably going to be the same one as this one at the beginning of verse 41. Auton, omicron, nu, is not nominative, accusative, singular, masculine. Him, that being Simon right there. Pros is a preposition. Pros normally takes all of the different cases, but in this one we have ton Iesun, which is accusative, singular, masculine. So this one is taking accusative as its object. That would then tell us that pros here means to, toward, or against. Period right there in our punctuation, but we don't care about punctuation. And blepsos, that doesn't have the correct ending, so yes, our prepositional phrase does have to end here. The J-E-S-U-S. He led him to the Jesus, or toward the Jesus. It's not going to be against Jesus. That wouldn't make any sense. Emblepsos starts off our next sentence. We've got alpha sigma here as our ending. Embleps as our stem. This would come from blepo, or a variant of blepo, emblepo. So blepo, blepso, eblepsa. Since we don't have an epsilon right here, we know that this isn't the normal aorist ending. It can't really be the future, because future doesn't have that as a personal ending, which then means that we have a participle built off of the aorist stem. And this would make it... My brain always fails when it comes to aorist participles. I'm sorry. I believe this is nominative, singular, masculine on that aorist. And of course, active participle. This means having looked, and then M tells us, add a little bit more than just blepo, which means look, but M is more emphatic, more specific. This is straight at, and it takes the dative naturally, which we have here with the sub iota, dative, singular, masculine. Him. Ho Jesus. Ho here is from ho heto. Jesus is our nominative ending of Jesus, which is a really strangely declined word in Greek. Nominative, masculine. The Jesus. This is naturally our subject. A pen. Epsilon nu here is third person singular. This is from lego ero epon, so this is our aorist stem. It's active and indicative. He, sorry, capitalized he, said. And then we enter direct discourse. So far then in this part of the clause we have the Jesus, having looked straight at him, he said. A here could mean if, but we've got this circumflex over here, and as we take a look at the rest of this clause, we don't have a definite verb, which means that this is probably actually from me. A then is our second person, singular, present, active, indicative, meaning are, you are specifically. Simon Simon here is not a normal Greek word as far as I can recall. Probably contradicting myself from a previous video. Oh well, this is going to be nominative, singular, masculine. Don't have any punctuation in our Greek, but we've in this text, but we already know we're ignoring that. Ho hoios. This is clearly nominative. Omicron sigma there, also nominative, singular, masculine. We got Ioannou, so these two go together, but Ioannou is a different function. The sun. Omicron upsilon here for a normal word, and I believe John is a normal word or declines normally in Greek. Again, I could be wrong there. So it's genitive, singular, masculine, showing possession. Let's stop there for a moment. You are Simon, the son of John. Now, technically, this could be vocative, because the nominative and vocative forms for this type of noun would be identical. We don't really have a way to tell. Vocatives, I don't think, at least. In Latin, usually they don't appear as the first word of the sentence, so the positioning here makes sense. But it could be the other way around. We have no definite way, so I'm going to write both of them. But I think this is the correct one. Su is nominative singular. You. Kletheisei, which is a very interesting word. Got sub-iota on the eta right there as our ending. This comes from kaleo, I believe. Kaleo, kaleso, ekalesa, kekaleka, kekalemai, eklethe, which would then make this the aorist stem right there, aorist passive stem. But since we don't have the epsilon augmenting vowel at the beginning, this tells us actually that theisei, which we should know if, unlike me, you actually memorize those endings, this is future passive. So, second person singular future passive indicative. You shall be called Kephas. Kephas is clearly going to be a nominative singular, or is it? Complete brain failure here. I will have the proper answer for you in the notes at the bottom of this video. Or not at the bottom. It'll be at the bottom of the screen, like right along here. Anyway, it could be nominative singular masculine. This I don't remember. Didn't look it up. Or it could be accusative singular masculine. With verbs of naming, usually it's going to be you name an accusative and accusative, but since we have su here as a nominative, then that would tend to indicate to me that this is probably going to be a nominative also. Let's move on. This is Cephas, comma. And then this ends our direct quote, because ho erme neu etai Petros is going to be very similar to this clause right here. It's actually, well, it's a slightly different verb. It doesn't have the meth at the beginning. That was kind of funny. This comes from, of course, hos he ho. This is our relative pronoun. Which, nominative singular neuter. Erme neu etai. Etai is third person. It is singular. Erme neu is our present stem. Etai is our middle passive ending. And it is indicative, which means or translates for itself if it's middle, or is translated if it is the passive. Passive makes more sense because that's how we've used it every previous time. Then we get an actual Greek word, Petros, omicron here, nominative, singular, masculine. Peter, or if you prefer the more literal translation, I think it's two B's, little pebble. So there we go. That is verse 42 in its entirety. Let's take a look at it in its internal context. He led him to the Jesus. The Jesus, having looked straight at him, he said, "You are Simon the son of John. You shall be called Cephas," which is translated Peter. And in the greater context of verse 35, and this will finish off our entire paragraph, on the next day again, the John had stood, and from the disciples of him, 2 of them, and having looked at the Jesus walking about, he said, Behold the Lamb of the God. And the 2 disciples heard him speaking, and they followed with the Jesus. But the Jesus, having been turned around, and having seen those following along with him, he says to them, What do you all seek? But those ones said to him, Rabbi, which is said, being translated, Teacher, where are you staying? He says to them, Come, and you will see for yourselves. They came therefore and saw where he is staying, and they stayed with him for that day. Hour it was as 10th. He was Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter, one of the 2 of those having heard from John, and having followed him. This one first finds the brother, his own, Simon, and he says to him, We have found the Messiah, and we know he is here, where he is now, implied by the tense, which is being translated Christ. He led him to the Jesus. Having looked straight at him, the Jesus, he said, You are Simon, the son of John. You shall be called Cephas, which is translated Peter. Now, as is our tradition, we go through our verses and we check to see if there are any proper nouns that are lacking articles. And then we want to see which is the better option of translating them, with an indefinite article or with no article at all. So as we look at this one, look at the start. Jesus has an article with him, so that doesn't count. Jesus has an article with him again, so that doesn't count. Simon doesn't have an article, but he's talking to only one Simon. So that would be very strange if we were to translate it the other way, but let's go ahead and treat it as we have the others. He said, You are Simon, the son of John. Or, You are a Simon, the son of John. Clearly the second one doesn't make very much sense, but it's possible. John here also doesn't have an article, so we also technically have to see if that would work. You are Simon, the son of John. Or you are Simon, the son of a John. Any old John. Again, the indefinite article here just doesn't work. Let's move forward. You shall be called Cephas. We could do the exact same thing here again, but since we've got calling, normally even in English we wouldn't use a indefinite article, so that doesn't work at all, which is translated Peter. Likewise here, it doesn't make much sense, just like it didn't make much sense in the last verse, to treat this with a indefinite article, so we'll just leave articles out of it entirely. So far in these 2 verses, nope, 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 and nope. We didn't even need to try these 2. Well, there you have it. Thank you very much for joining me in this text. I hope you were able to derive some knowledge from this, and I hope that you have a very good day. Farewell.